everyone, welcome back for a little TLC. So I feel like it's been a while. I was celebrating my birthday really the last couple of weeks, and so I got really off schedule when it came to posting my videos. It was just a really busy time, but moving forward I should be more consistent, or if I do need to take a break, at least give y'all some type of advance notice. I know that we were in the middle of our series. I could even call it in the middle because I only did one video for Out of Context, and I am going to get back to that, but probably in the month of November, because it is October the 2nd, and that means that it is Pastors Appreciation Month. And so I do want to take some time to do like I normally do in the month of October, have a few series that are focused on the pastor, the office of the pastor, how we can help our pastor, etc., etc. So I'm very excited to start talking again about how we can best appreciate our pastors. Let's get into it. So for the first video for Pastors Appreciation Month, I wanted to talk about how we can support our pastors, or really ask the question to make us think about how we can support our pastors. Being a pastor, being a preacher is a very arduous, I think that's a word, task, but it's a lot. So you're dealing with all of the personalities, all of the needs of the congregation, and also you still have your own things going on with your own family. So pastors are having an incredibly quick burnout rate nowadays. They feel stressed, they feel tired, and rightfully so, because there's a lot that goes on with being a pastor, so far beyond just preaching a message every Sunday or every week, but caring for yourself and caring for others outside of just your family can be very, very demanding, both mentally and physically, spiritually, emotionally, all of the other leads. And so I do want us to think about how we can support our pastors. I normally at the end of October post a video titled "Stop Stressing Your Pastor Out," but I wanted to take a more positive role this time to just have us ask ourselves, how can we support our pastor? As I was thinking about this concept, I was reminded of a story in the Bible where Moses his arms were being held up by Aaron and Hur. I think that's how you pronounce it. And so he was getting tired, and so he had to have these two men hold his arms up. And when I was looking at the scripture, it can be found in, oh Lord, I don't even have it. I'll put the exact scripture in here because I'm not sure. I think it's in Exodus, but I can't remember the chapter. It is Exodus chapter 17, starting at verse 10. But it says, starting at verse 10, "So Joshua fought the Amalekites as Moses had ordered, and Moses, Aaron, and Hur went to the top of the hill. As long as Moses held up his hands, the Israelites were winning, but whenever he lowered his hands, the Amalekites were winning. When Moses' hands grew tired, they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Aaron and Hur held his hands up, one on one side, one on the other, so that his hands remained steady till sunset. So Joshua overcame the Amalekite army with the sword." And so there are two main things that I wanted to focus on. One, Moses was in need of having folks to hold his arms up. And I think that's exactly the same with our pastors. The congregation, yes, we do look to our pastors for a lot, but I think that it wouldn't be as burdensome if at least every now and then, outside of just the month of October, if at least once a month, we ask ourselves as congregants, how can I hold my pastor's arms up? Perhaps that may be praying for them. Perhaps that may be just asking them how they are doing on a particular Sunday. Perhaps that may be not texting them right before service with some of our concerns when they're trying to get into the spirit of worship. How can I hold my pastor's arms up? Moses was a man. He was in need of some assistance so that the army could be successful. So whenever he had his arms held his arms raised, the army was successful, but when they began to lower, the army was not successful. Similarly, I believe that when we are holding our pastor's arms up, it's better for everybody else in the congregation because they're receiving some assistance, right? So that's really the first thing, just remembering that our pastors are human beings who need help. Every now and then they might get weak, and so we need to ask ourselves, how can I hold up my pastor's arms? How can I support them? But number two, something that I noticed when I was reflecting on this text is that really just the two people who were holding up Moses's arms. One was Aaron, who is his brother, who was also one of the priests, one of the chief priests, really. So we know that was an important figure, an important leader when it comes to the children of Israel. However, this other person, Hur, I don't really know who that is. Like, I really don't know if that, I mean, the scholars say that it was probably a leader. They don't know that this person was related to Moses. They don't know. Really, nobody really seems to know exactly who Hur was when it came to their proximity to Moses or their overall status when it came to the children of Israel. We can assume that they were an important person, but I do like that this person, Hur, was okay serving even without the most important title having to be mentioned in the Bible. And I want us to consider that for ourselves. Are we willing to hold our pastor's arms up? Are we willing to support them even if nobody knows what our title is? Are we willing to support our pastor even if nobody knows what our direct relationship is to the pastor, to the leader? What are we doing to support our pastor? It's just something I want us to think about, especially in this month of October. How are we, or make it personal, how am I holding my pastor's arms up? How am I supporting my pastor? Am I going to be someone who is like Aaron and Hur, who my pastor could count on to lift up their arms when they are feeling weak, when the burdens of life when the burdens of life are just overwhelming, when they have so much going on? Or am I going to be someone who's nowhere to be found, someone who is just always taking, stressing my pastor out? How can I support my pastor? Just a question that I would like us to consider as we kick off Pastors Appreciation Month. All right, I hope that y'all enjoyed this. I would love to know what you all think. Make sure you like, comment, and share this video. If you have some ways that you are supporting your pastor, you want to give us some ideas, then I would love for you to comment those so that all of us could get on board with supporting our pastors. All right, hope y'all have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. It will really be this upcoming Monday for a little TLC. Bye-bye.